What's up, guys? Welcome to the live stream. We're doing another little impromptu stream during this lockdown period. So today we're going to be turning a pen. It's going to be part of a pen because I only have so much time today, but I know everybody wanted to see the 3D printed brick blank turned. And so I think, more important than the actual pen that I make, I think just turning this is kind of what everyone wants to see. How will it hold up? So that's what we're going to do today. I have to be kind of quick on the stream today. Casey and I are going to be recording a podcast right after this, so I need to definitely be shut down by 3. I think we can get through that, though. We should be able to get this turned up unless we run into some serious problems. So I'm going to head over to the lathe, and I'm going to kind of explain a couple things that I've done to prepare for this. One of the issues is the 3D print it was printed, all the little walls are not just a single line, they're double wall. And so that can lead to some little gaps in between. It's a very tiny amount of gap, but that can cause problems when you're turning, obviously. So, hey, what's up, Amanda, David, Jim has been here for a while. Mr. Rubin, how's it going? So let me switch to the turning view. There's the lathe over there. And I'm gonna kind of tell you what I'm doing here. So I'm going to be making a junior style pen. So that's one of the 2-piece type things. I'm trying to get the camera here situated. So this is what I'm going to be doing here. So this is going to be the cap of the pen. This is one of my Pink Floyd, the Dark Side of the Moon theme, or just rainbow themed blanks. But I thought that this would be kind of an interesting thing, putting a brick, another brick in the wall type thing with the dark side of the moon. So that's going to be the pen totally, but I'm not going to be turning, oh, I'm not even on the camera. Hold on a minute, let me restart. So dark side of the moon, rainbow style. Like I said, this is one of my blanks that I have on my website. I just thought that this would be kind of cool to put with the brick. We got the whole Pink Floyd theme going on here. So I'm not going to be turning this today. I don't have enough time to get an entire pen done. I don't want to feel like I have to rush. So I'll do this on my own some other time. It's just kind of a simple blank, no big deal. Here is the brick blank. So Ashley over at Chipped Builds printed these out, and then we filled it with resin. So we used a little bit of Divine Pigments. I'm not sure, the berry red I think is what we used. And put this on. This is going to be the pen part of that junior kit. And I've gotten everything all, barrel trimmed and ready to rock and roll. You might notice that the surface is all kind of shiny and crunchy. And what I did was, most of you guys already know, the big secret to most of my successes that I feel turning pens that are maybe difficult is CA glue. So the thin, I prefer and I'm sure there's other ones that are similar, but I know that this one works. So the Star Bond Super Fast Thin. It is really thin, and it'll just kind of penetrate into small spaces. And what that does, I just literally doused the heck out of this thing, let it sit there and let it kind of soak in. And you can see on the ends, there's a little bit of CA that kind of seeped through. So I was definitely getting CA glue inside of this. I want to make sure that I'm on the right, there we go. Had to look and make sure I had the right camera going. So definitely, some CA glue did seep into these. It was kind of, you could see that it was going away, basically. It wasn't just sitting on the surface. So I may actually hit it a couple times while we're turning it, but I'm going to get my bushings in. So I've had a lot of questions. This is the setup that I use. It's a dead center that goes in the headstock side, and this is a live center. Most people have some sort of a live center for the tailstock. The dead centers are cheap. You can get them on Amazon. I have links to where I get mine on my website. And then what we're using here is these special bushings. I don't like pen mandrels. They're always bent. They don't really work too well. So you just go with basically turning between centers. And this is going to be very accurate. I find I get definitely the best results pen turning. When I switched to this method, my pen turning skills, or I don't know, what I got, the results from pen turning went much better, especially when you're trying to get like a CA finish on or something like that. It just works a little bit better. Okay, so hold on real quick, guys. I got to get my phone open so I can look at the chat, make sure I'm not missing anything. I'm going to stop real quick and go and look in the chat. Billy's here. Russell, hey, thanks for the super chat. I appreciate it. Nice. Well, it's DK, Massachusetts. I hope everybody's doing good. I know that we're still kind of in the middle of all this craziness. So hopefully everybody's kind of hunkering down and staying sane with all the crazy going on. I've been trying to kind of get more streams, more content up, because I know that there's a lot of, whoa, good Lord, turn the volume down on that. I know there's a lot of people who have been, you know, their world has turned upside down kind of thing. Real quick, I need to sharpen my gouge. I like to use a gouge, a cutting tool, when it's square still. So I'm going to switch to this view. You can kind of see me over there. This is the best I got. While I'm sharpening real quick, I just need to, the problem was this would have been already done, but I need to reset my Wolverine jig. So, I just got a message from Casey. It looks like everything's good to go. So we should have plenty of time to get through half a pen. We'll see how it goes. I'm excited to see how this turns. The dog pen, if you guys didn't see that, we did that on the live stream a few days ago. And that one turned out fabulous. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting a little bit of Sharpie marker on the edge of this, and I'm going to rotate the wheel. I know this isn't a close-up view or anything, but I'm just trying to make sure that I get this thing set up properly so that I'm cutting and not altering my, there, that looks good. Not altering the angle that I have on this. And then once we get the wings, the corners knocked off of this blank, then I'm going to switch over to carbide. I find the negative rate carbide cutters are just very nice to use. They're a good option for any kind of resin. So let's see. Gord, what's up? How's it going up in Canada, man? Zach with the Crocs. Oh yeah, I got to turn the, let's get the right camera view on. Yeah, these Crocs are actually pretty comfy. I'm not really, I don't know. I'm always trying to find a nice, comfortable shoe. And I seem to be able to wear these without any knee, back, or any other problems going on. So, yeah, in my woolly socks. So I'm going to turn the lathe up to mine goes up to 3,500. So for pens, I always recommend people just go as high as possible. And then we're just going to kind of ease into this. I'm going to take pretty light cuts because I don't want this thing coming apart. So far, so good. Let me just stop so you guys can kind of see where we're at, what's going on with this. You know, sharp tools and CA glue will generally get you through any kind of pen blank, I find. Unless it's just so fragile that, you know, you can't even really cut it, then you might have to pull out sandpaper if it's just a dire situation to get through it. But this is looking pretty good so far. Just keep it going here. You know, I need to get a little bit of wax on my tool rest, I think. Having the tools kind of holding up on me while I'm trying to move it. So if your tool isn't sliding nicely, definitely hit your tool rest with a little bit of wax. Any kind of like paste wax or whatever, it'll definitely make the process a lot happier while you're turning. So I have a can of the Renaissance wax, and the thing is, I actually don't necessarily recommend that you use Renaissance wax. I just at this point I don't use it for anything else, and it dries super fast. But any paste wax will do. And Renaissance wax works great. It's pretty expensive stuff, so it's kind of hard to justify or recommend people use it for. putting on a tool rest. All right, so here we go. Mark's here. How's it going? Scott, West Virginia. Let's see here. Russell from Turkey. Well, welcome, Go Fish. That's pretty cool. Turkey seems like a really interesting country. It'd be nice to visit someday. Tom, you're from Carson City. What? How's it going? He's a local. And Daryl made it. Welcome to the stream. So, we are looking good so far. If anybody, another thing that I will recommend, for anybody that's really good with a skew chisel, if you got the skills, skew chisels are a great way to go on materials like this. That may be difficult. I generally find there's nothing wrong with scraping, and the negative rate cutters are less aggressive, which makes it nice for this type of thing, but cutting tools kind of sometimes can get through. If you're good with a cutting tool, it can get you through. And I'm not saying that I'm really particularly good. It's just I have a good amount of time with, you know, my gouge. I know how to operate it kind of. And so it just works a little better when it's square like that and it's chunking. It just cutting it works a little bit better, I find. Trucker from England, nice. Mark's from the UK. Bonus stream, that's right, Eric. How's it going, man? We got people from all over the place. Phoenix, NorCal. Nice. All right, let's keep it going here. We've almost got it round, as you guys could see. Now, the resin that we use, let's see, what did we use? I think we used liquid diamonds on this one, didn't we? Pretty sure. It smells, yeah, it's definitely liquid diamonds. So we used an epoxy to cast this. Now, I'm just going to stop. I'm going to zoom you guys in a little bit, and I'm going to reposition the camera so you're centered. Better. Stop wiggling there. That way you guys can kind of see closer what's going on here. Trying to get these shavings out of the way so we don't have to look at them. I'm just kind of, there's a little, I can feel a little bit of a, that feels like, I tried to fill, some of the spots in the mold were a little low, and I tried filling them, and that resin didn't really cure very well. So that's a little spot. So I got a little, I can see a little separation there. I think what I'm going to do at this point, we got it round, but I think it's not a bad idea. It's never going to hurt anything to add a little bit of CA glue to the surface. That is never going to harm anything, right? So I'm just going to turn the lathe on real slow. And I'm just going to douse the heck out of this thing with the super fast thin. And again, all I'm doing is trying to kind of fill in any areas that have little gaps. Just because, you know, I could tell that the 3D print had the two walls, and it's just not guaranteed that the resin filled in there. Now, I think it actually did. I think the resin did fill in a lot of those spots because it actually, the amount of resin in the mold dropped. Right? So, whoa. So it did kind of fill in a lot of these spaces, but CA glue will just fill any problematic areas. Let's see here. From Spain, how's it going, JJ? Nice. Ashley's here. So Ashley, Chipped Builds, she's the one that made these prints. She's got these prints available. And I still have the the other half of my dog blank that I need to turn up. It's another Sierra. I need to figure out where the, how do I get on center? It's so weird. It's backwards. So we got another one of these. And again, I turned one of those a few days ago. So check my channel for that if you want to see that one. Makulu from South Africa. Nice. Yeah, there's 2 bars here. Oh man. Michael's over in Poland right now. Jeez. What sharpening system do I use? I have the Wolverine and a jet grinder, and then the CBN wheels. Gretchen's even here. Nice. The material is PLA. Let's see. I'm just stopping and looking here. So, and I didn't use any of the what is this, accelerator spray or anything on this. You don't want it to accelerate. You want it to seep in as much as possible. So you just will apply it and then just let it sit there. Once it's kind of sat and seeped in for a few minutes, then I would probably hit it with the accelerator. If you have time, I would actually probably just recommend not using accelerator at all, but I want to make sure that I'm not spraying CA glue because I'm kind of, you know, we're in not a hurry, but you're heading back to Texas tomorrow. What? Do you have to go back to Poland? I thought you were there for like 9 months. Has it been 9 months? Did I totally have that off? Anyhow. Gretchen's got to go. She always just pops in to see if I'm causing trouble. And who asked about the sharpening thing? Oh, Russell. So the other thing I want to mention, though, is the Wolverine setup is really good, but Woodturner's Wonders came out with, they call it the Kodiak system. And I'm actually going to go get a link because I really think that if you're setting up, I'm going to actually switch to the intro view while I do this. So you guys can kind of, you're not just staring at the blank. You can stare at my ugly face instead. If you're setting up a sharpening system, I actually think that the Kodiak, it is pretty awesome. And I'm just going to put a link. I can't really show you guys, but it's like an entire base. Now, it's not cheap, but it is by far the best system that I've ever seen for sharpening. And I thought the Wolverine was like the best thing on the planet until I saw this. And it basically, they've got an entire base and it fits, you know, they even sell the grinder and there's a whole big base thing that you just attach the grinder to, and everything's already set up. Like you don't have to build it. And it's set up to the point where if you're using CBN wheels, which they don't change the radius. You're not grinding anything off of them. You can literally just set things up once and forget it. And there's like little detents and everything. It's a really awesome system. They came up with a good one. So I'm gonna put a link to that setup real quick, and I'll put one for people that are watching the replay. I'll put one down in the show notes as well. I leave the chat thing up, so you should, I think, be able to see that, but I'm going to put a link here for you guys that are watching right here. Right there. There we go. You got it. Whew. It is cool, and I actually have part of that system. One other thing that I want to mention, and after I'm done turning, I'm going to show you guys. If you already have a Wolverine system, and you are kind of annoyed with the platform, that if you use, you know, just a tool rest type platform, not for like the turning tools, they have a much better platform system that fits right into the Wolverine. And I already bought one of those. I'm actually probably going to buy the whole setup just to kind of have it here and show people, because it's really what I would recommend. But it's pretty expensive, and I already have a sharpening system, so it's kind of... eventually, I do want to get more CBN wheels. I want to have actually 2 grinders and set things up for 2 different things. So I might get it then. All right, so it's enough talk about sharpening things. This thing's dry. So let's do a little bit more turning. Now at this point, I could switch to the carbides. So why don't we do that? We've seen, you know, I know that I know that the cutting tools are going to work pretty well. And if you have cutting tools, you know, it's not a bad idea to go the whole way if you want. But I think, honestly, you can go either way. I would recommend, though, it's not a bad idea, especially on fragile blanks, to at least like sand down the corners if you don't have a cutting tool, because it's just not particularly fun trying to knock corners off, especially on a blank that you're just not sure is going to stay together. So if that's the case, then I would probably recommend trying something else. Now, just like last time, so the thing about it is, PLA is the material that the little brick parts are made out of, and it has a pretty low melt temperature, okay? So you don't really want to be keeping, if you're scraping, or even if you're cutting, you want to kind of minimize how much heat is being built up, because it'll kind of melt that stuff. So even just scraping, you know, there's going to be a little bit more friction on a negative rake scraper also. So you don't want to just be lingering in one spot. Like take a cut and then get off. Take a cut and get off. Or just keep moving the tool so that it's not building up that heat. And I think you'll get the best results that way. You don't want to be moving quick or doing anything hurriedly, but you also don't really, because I can actually feel it kind of catching a little bit here and there. You can kind of see the surface. So, and that may be CA glue. There may be some things going on, but I wasn't getting that with the cutting tool. So I just want to kind of let you guys know about that, you know, cutting tools may actually be a better way to go on this type of a blank. Actually, I take it back. It's cutting well. There must be something squishy down here. Something weird's going on down on this end that I don't know actually has anything to do with the 3D print. Seems like it's in between. So I'm actually going to hit that with a little bit of CA glue. I don't think anything's going to fall apart or rip out or anything like that, but I can feel something kind of tugging. And there's something soft down there. So let's pull out our favorite bottle of CA glue and just get this thing. Try and nip it in the bud right now before we even keep going on. It's another thing that CA glue is good for, is kind of hardening up things. You know, you can almost use it basically as like a kind of a stabilizing agent. While I'm here, why not? Let's just do it. All right, so we're going to give it another little shot of CA. Let me stop and look at the check here. All right, so Chef Mate. Is it Chef Matt or Chef Mate? Looks like Matt. Oh, they cut your mission short. Wow. Franco's from Toronto. Nice. Welcome. I want to go to Canada soon sometime too. I know it's kind of stupid to talk about traveling right now, but it is true. I do want to go to Canada. So what mask do I use? I use, yeah, it's an RZ mask usually. They work pretty good. The reason I really like them is, yeah, the system is pricey, but man, I'll tell you what, when it comes to getting like, I don't know, things for like, you can't turn well if your tools don't get sharp. And if you mess around with it, you know, it's one of those things that, you know, I recommend. I don't know. I'm the type of person that I would rather just pay somebody to guarantee that I'm going to get good results and get sharp tools. I'm going to hit this with accelerator real quick just to make sure. Yeah, so I know. I agree. It's pretty expensive, but man, it's money well spent, I think. Yep, Kevin, this is a live stream. It's much easier for me just to do lives. No Crocs allowed in Canada. Well, I probably wouldn't bring the Crocs, honestly. Although I do have a really cool set of Crocs that I like after snowboarding. They're just slip-ons, but they're like wintery ones. So I don't know. I might have to. I call them my Christmas Crocs because generally you bring them out around Christmas time. May have to leave those home if they're not letting them in the country. So at this point, I'm just trying to take down a lot of this excess, basically. All right, so let's stop it and see where we're at. So far, so good. Haven't seen any real problems. I can feel with this tool, it's still kind of there's like a soft part somewhere here and there. So just kind of be careful. Like I said, try not to stay on an area for too long with the tool. I think that'll kind of help to take kind of light cuts and kind of. Like I said, I don't want to say move the tool fast, but just don't linger in an area. Let's get you guys a kind of a closer view here. Nice and tight there. Got kind of a little bit of a shadow going on. I got a big light lamp over this thing. Let me kind of move this light thing a little bit. Maybe if I move it back a little bit, it'll chill out a bit. That didn't really work. Kinda. Well, yeah, that's not really working too well. Let me just turn this light off. Maybe it's just too bright. Nope, it's something else. Oh, it must be my overhead light. All right, so hold on, guys. I'm gonna try and get that glare off the blank for you. I just can't seem to. I need a camera crew, I'm telling you. Where's my camera crew at? What if I move, hold on real quick, guys. I'm just going to try and move this camera a little bit to a different angle and just see what happens. There. Now you can kind of see it, I think, a little bit better. It's kind of a weird angle, but you don't have, well, I don't know. You do kind of have a glare, I guess. Well, that didn't really work. We're just going to have to deal with a little bit of a glare, I think. Sorry about the messing around. You guys are like, quit it! Stop! I can already see the chat right now. Don't even have to look at it. There. It's about as good as we're going to get, I think. Moved you a little bit closer in. So hopefully you can kind of see. It's looking good though. I mean, honestly. The only thing is we got a little bit of funkiness on this side. Something to do with probably the double wall maybe? I don't know. But the rest of it looks great. And I think Ashley was going to be working on making it a single wall anyway, so let's see here. Oh, hold on a minute. Sorry, guys. Got to scroll up a little bit. All right, I'm gonna miss some stuff. If Philip, you would be my cameraman, I appreciate it. Try wiping. No, it's not the lens. I've already wiped the lens. I think I just have too bright a light going on. It's just not focusing at this point. That's weird. Huh. All right, guys, we're gonna have to hold on real quick, guys. Yeah, I'm dizzy too. I'm gonna put it on intro cam. Perhaps, maybe I should wipe the lens a little bit. See if that does anything. I have a little camera wipe. We did have something on there a couple of weeks ago, so I wouldn't be surprised. But I thought that I cleaned it at that point. So let's try this. Yeah. Let's try cleaning it up a little bit. Clean up my act, right? Gotta clean up my act. All right. Let's see if that fixed anything. For some reason, it just does not want to focus on anything. Huh. Well, I think that's as good as we're going to get. Can I pull the plug on this thing? Everything's falling apart. Oh my God. All right. We'll have to go and see how that goes. See how it goes. Oh, no, we don't have a camera signal at all. I'm telling you guys, everything's falling apart. There we go. We're back in action. We're back. Technical difficulties. Okay, so let's get back to turning. How about that? What do you guys think? Okay. Todd's here. What's up, man? Okay, so it's looking pretty good. We almost pretty much have this thing done. It looks like it keeps trying to like look at the tool rest down there or something. I don't know. There, get that in the middle. We'll give it a background, but it's looking good. Look at that. So let me look at the ends. That's actually pretty good. That's pretty good too. Maybe a little bit needs to be taken off on this one end. It's a little bit fat too, so I'm going to take some material off in the middle here. But to be honest, I mean, this thing turned pretty nicely. I didn't have any problems or anything. I'm going to pull out, I like to kind of hit it with the R2, the kind of rounded square. I usually get a pretty good finish, you know, kind of surface on there, and I can usually, if I've done my job with this tool, I can usually start sanding a little bit higher than with the round one. All right, let's see where we're at here. Yeah, not too shabby, guys, not too shabby. Thanks, Julie. I appreciate it. I've turned a few PLA things, and I've also for the blank. So I make the pinstripe blanks, and I use ABS plastic for my 3D printed things, and that turns a little bit better. You still have the same issue. It's got a relatively low, low melt point. What I want to try out is the SLA printers, the resin printing. I think that would probably work pretty well. So what I'm going to do here is we're just going to kind of clean it up. I'm going to hit it with some 400 grit sandpaper. and turn it down. Just make sure that it's nice and smooth. Let's see what that surface looks like. Not too bad, actually. So you don't want to heat up. Sanding PLA is another area where it can kind of heat up. So you don't really want to sand. It's actually probably not a bad idea for me just to wet sand out the gate. So I think I'm gonna do that actually. A lot of times I try to kind of cheat and just kind of dry sand off the bat because I'm not going to take this up very high because I'm going to put a CA finish on top. What am I doing here? Get my wet sanding gear out. And water. Where's my water bucket? To be honest, I could probably start with a polishing paper, but let's just go with 400. That'll ensure that we get it nice and smooth. But this water will keep everything cool, so you won't have to worry so much about heating anything up. And frankly, you don't really want to heat up the resin even. Just the epoxy. That's one of the causes for problems when you're trying to get resin cast blanks finished. Heat is the enemy of resin and sanding. So I'm just going to give this a little bit of time with the 400. Make sure I've gotten all the tool marks out. We're starting with like a dead smooth surface. And I think I'll take it up maybe one more step. Hit it with that first polishing paper, which is about 750 grit, and then we'll just apply the CA finish. All right, so let's see what that's looking like. Dry it off completely. And then what I want to do is I want to get a raking light. I want to get a light that's angled from behind coming at me and get my eyes in there so I can see the surface, so I can see the scratch marks and everything that's going on. And this is looking really good. Still a little bit of a kind of a bump down at the end here. I don't really like. So I'm actually that's gonna be evident when I put the pen together. So I actually am a little bit better using a cutting tool to kind of get the ends even with the bushings. So I'm going to do that for this one. I like to just kind of ride the bevel on the bushing and kind of come in a little bit or come back, but just a little easier for me to get this with a cutting tool. All right. If you don't have such an angle meeting the bushing, it's a little easier. Yeah, I don't usually put CA finish on an acrylic blank either, but this has the PLA in it. So I think you're better off. I want to use water. I think you're better off putting a CA finish on this. One of the big reasons is you're not going to be able to polish up the PLA to the same shine as the resin. So you're kind of better off with these 3D prints putting a CA finish on. All right, I think that's probably good there. I'm gonna wipe off the surface here, then we'll hit it with some 750 grit. Should probably change my water out. There's some funkiness going on in there. You don't want to get too high before you put a, with your grits, before you put a CA finish on it. It's similar to every other kind of resin, out there. It needs something to grab onto, basically. It's not going to stick very well to a smooth surface. So you don't want to be polishing it or applying anything that has waxes in it before putting on a CA finish. To be honest, 400 grit is probably good enough. The CA will kind of fill in any scratch areas, but a little bit higher, not a bad idea. 600, definitely no higher than 1,000 though, if you're going to put a finish on. Let me get this light off. There we go. Now you can see it. It's looking pretty good, huh? Like I said, there's just this weird area down here, but the rest of the blank looks fabulous. All right, so let's put on some CA finish here. Now, I usually will douse, especially with something like this, I'm going to douse it with that super fast thin again, just to give it a little bit of a base, fill in any little gaps that there may be. First, and again, I'm not going to hit it with accelerator on this round. I want it to seep in and fill anything that there may be, any little holes or whatever. Jeff, you're not late. You're right in time. The colder the water, the better the results? I've never noticed a difference. I never really thought about that. I usually use distilled water. I don't really trust. We have pretty hard water, and this may be like way beyond anal, but we have hard water, and hard water means there's minerals, which are rocks basically in the water. So I'm in my head, I'm thinking distilled water might be actually better. There won't be any kind of grit. I don't know if that actually matters or not, but yeah, I'm definitely going to put the clip over. Although, I don't know, I may just put that on the opposite side of the clip, possibly. And that way, like 3/4 of the top looks good, and then just the bottom of the pen. There's a couple places that I would recommend getting them. Turner's Warehouse has good ones. They're pretty cheap. I buy mine from tbcbushings.com. Brian Nikita's, he makes his own. He manufactures them, small scale. I'm just going to hit this with a little bit of accelerator just to make sure everything was nice and hardened up there. But yeah, Brian does a really good job. His bushings are top of the line, but they are a little more expensive. The nice thing about Brian, though, is he can custom make anything. So, some kits there may not be TBC bushings for. And you can go one of two ways. There's Brian actually makes an adapter that will allow you to use, if you already had the bushings for like kind of an oddball pen kit. He's got adapters that basically, and let me show you these. These things are pretty cool. Let me see if I can find them. Where are they? Yeah. No, shoot. Where did the adapters go? Well, I moved a bunch of stuff when I was moving the shop around, and I don't know where they went. Well, anyway, the idea is he's got some bushings that have the 60 degree that'll match up to your centers. And then it's got just a peg that'll fit in it's like a 7mm the same size that would go inside a normal bushing. So the thing is, you're adding basically another set of bushings to this setup, and it's a little bit less accurate than just going with one set of bushings between centers. But, for kits that you don't really make a lot of pens for, but you already have the mandrel bushings, I think that's a really good way to go. I think for pens that you turn a lot of, I would just get the bushings, like the TBC bushings. And so a lot of the popular pen kits, Turner's Warehouse has, and they have good bushings, and you'll get them faster. So a little cheaper, a little faster. But for things that, like for kits that you turn a lot of, Brian's are the most accurate. So it's up to you either way. I just get all mine from him because I don't know. I started buying from him before people actually had them in stores. All right, so we got our base layer on. Now we're just going to add a few more coats of the Mercury Thin Flex. I like this stuff for like the finish, the top finish, personally. I don't know. I like it. I'm able to get that finish on very smoothly. So that's one of the reasons I like it. It also is a good durable finish and clear and all that kind of stuff. So I let it kind of set up a little bit, but then I do hit it with an accelerator to kind of speed up the process. Let's see. Braxton, what's up, dude? How's everything in Vegas? Well, technically Boulder, but down south. You didn't know they made super thin? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. This is just Starbond's brand. I don't know that Starbond has one called Thin. But this one I really like for it's like the duct tape one. Like, when you need to harden up punky wood, or, when you need something to absorb, I think the Starbond Superfast Thin is the best way to go. I know it works, so I'm not going to kind of go and try different ones. It just does the job. There's probably other brands, and I don't know what they're called. They're formulas that are like it. And then Thin Flex from Mercury. That is not the way that I usually do that. I don't know what I'm doing, guys. Talking when I should be focusing on my finish. I usually apply it put a little dab on this thing and then apply that. But we should be okay. I don't know. I actually think that might be enough. Maybe I'll put one more coat on just for the heck of it. I think we're actually pretty good. There's a pretty good coating on this thing. I don't like putting a lot of finish on. I like to try to get it, the minimum number of coats without fear of sanding through it, basically. If you can get it on even, you don't need to put a whole lot of coats on because you're not going to be sanding a bunch of ridges off. All right, so then we're going to go back to the 400 grit. To start. And again, the 400 grit, I wouldn't go any lower than 400. I use the 400 to just kind of knock down ridges, high spots, and all that kind of stuff, get everything nice and flat. Then I'm going to move up to my polishing papers. If you got a lot of work to do, I don't know, maybe 220 if it's really, really bumpy, but you're going to be taking so much off at that point. Now at this point, let's see if you guys can kind of see. So see all those little shiny spots? Those are low spots. All right. So I'm going to keep going until there's not this many. That's a lot of low spots. We may actually have to put some more coats on because that is pretty. There's a lot of ridges. They're not deep ridges, but it's quite a few. And that's going to cause me to have to sand more, which means I'm taking more CA glue off. So it's not a bad idea to maybe sand, get everything kind of flattened, then add maybe a couple coats and really, really try to get them on as smooth as possible. All right, so it's starting to look good, but I still kind of think that I'm gonna do a little bit of work here, trying to flatten this, and then I'm going to put on a couple more coats real quick. Just to add a little bit of material, and then just basically, unless I totally screw up applying it, after those 2 coats, assuming I can get them on nice and smooth, we're just going to start sanding with the 750 polishing paper. All right, so I think what I'm going to do now, that paper was a little bit wet, so I'm going to actually blow this off. I don't want to be applying CA glue to something that's wet. It'll harden faster. All right, here we go. Joel, what's up? All right, so I'll just do a couple more relatively thin coats just to kind of smooth things out, get things going, and then we'll polish this guy up. But overall, I mean, this thing turned fine. I took a lot of steps to make sure that I didn't have problems, but you know, it really wasn't problematic, I wouldn't say. Yeah, I used to use the BSI stuff. It was fine. I like I said, to be honest, I've used all of them and I've never seen any that caused problems. I know a lot of people have problems, it seems, with stick fast even. And I don't know why, you know, because I used it for a while and it works. It just, the Mercury Thin Flex, this one, I'm able to get it on applied so smoothly that it's just not really, I'm just used to the way it works, and it works the best for the way that I do it. So, you know, the thing about CA finishes, use whatever product you can apply the best. It doesn't really, I don't know that there's any that really don't work. I don't know. I haven't seen any that were problematic. It's just a matter of how well you can apply it. It's looking good. I'm excited. What time is it? Shoot, it's 3. I gotta finish this guy up, guys. We gotta record a podcast today. I'm doing double duty. Double duty. Woo! I actually have a couple extra minutes. Casey said that, I think his girlfriend, fiance I should say, is doing something. It's going to tie him up until about 3:15. So we'll get this CA finish sanded up. I don't think I'm even going to buff it. I think we'll kind of stop. This is pretty evident. This is what it's going to look like, you know, after I do the buffing. Not going to change a whole lot, but I'm going to turn up the other parts. So for anybody that's kind of late, I sell this blank. It's kind of, I call it the Dark Side. It's like kind of like the Dark Side of the Moon album cover. And I'm thinking another brick in the wall plus Dark Side of the Moon. That's going to be a killer pen. So keep your eyes peeled. I'll turn up the Dark Side cap for this pen, and then I'll post pics when I get it all assembled. I think this is going to be a pretty killer looking pen. I mean, red, black, and gray, you know, just go together anyway. Those are 3 good colors. It's not like it's going to be weird. And then a little bit of a rainbow on the top. Prismatic effect. It's going to be pretty cool. And I'm going to be putting it on a Junior Retro pen kit. I thought that would look kind of good with this. I thought it fit pretty well. All right, so let me dry this off. Let's see what this thing looks like. Oh, I'm missing some stuff. Mert's here. What's up? How's it going? Oh yeah. It's looking pretty good. Okay, so we're going to go up to the 1150 grit. It's the gray one. This is the 3M Zona paper. I have links to where you can get this on my tools I use page on my website. But you can get it at Turner's Warehouse now. They sell the packs of it. I get, let's see, I'm trying to think where my links go now. Because I think Chad's going to start carrying it, but I end up just buying the first 2 grits in 10 packs. I don't tend to use all the grits. I finish up with buffing. But Chad's got the full kits. And I got to be honest, I've been messing around. I don't know if you guys saw the grapevine video. I did a little bit of kind of messing around, sanding with different stuff. And to be honest, Chad just did a video. And he's like, man, all I use is the 3M polishing papers. And I do think that there might be some use, some benefit to, especially on larger pieces. It just seems like, you know, it's not going to hurt anything by using higher grit polishing papers and then doing buffing. I think that there is limited, diminishing returns eventually. But 2, 3, maybe 4 grits. Then start with the tripoli buffing wheels, and the buffing should go like a breeze, basically. There's so many ways to polish stuff. It's hard to say, oh, this is the best way. Whichever way gets you good results is the best way. Let's see here. I think, what happened? Everything's going okay. So I need to look up, I don't know what color paper the third one is. Light blue. Okay. I want to hit it with the light blue this time. Just for the heck of it. I don't know what grit level this is, but we're going to go with the light blue. First, I'm going to wipe this off. It's good to wipe it off between grits while you're sanding, just to make sure there's no funkiness going on, contaminating between grits. And I'm actually getting some new buffing wheels today. They're like super, soft. I'm going to be doing a little bit of experimenting with automotive polishing. I'm still buffing, but using that as the compound. The other thing is I got a lot of people have kind of recommended trying out the blue buffing rouge. It's like the highest grit you can get, and it's good for plastics, I guess. So I got a bar of that, and I'm going to be doing a little bit of experimenting with polishing, different ways of polishing resin, pen blanks as well as larger ones. Should be kind of fun. If I can find, I don't know, every once in a while, it's good to kind of try some different things and see if you can just get faster or better results. But overall, I would say that this thing turned out pretty fabulous. Now, I need to get the bushings off because they're probably kind of stuck on there. Well, that one's not. And all I do is I just kind of tap it on my tailstock, and then it pops right off. That's another reason why I don't glob on a bunch of CA finish, because you're pretty much guaranteed to get your blank stuck to the bushings that way. And actually, that's one other thing I wanted to mention. I need to order these. Brian Nikitas, so tbcbushings.com. He sells, I think they're Delrin or nylon between center bushings for finishing. And I think that he'll cut them. One of the problems that I have, I've used they call them finishing bushings, but they're like a angled. They're wider, and it's hard. The way that I put on finish, it doesn't work for me. They're a pain. So I'm actually going to see if he'll make me some Delrin or whatever nylon bushings that I can switch out for finishing and not have to worry about that ever. it's typically not a problem. I usually don't have that much of an issue with it, but sometimes, you know, if I had bushings that were the exact fit, you know, it'd be nice not to have to worry at all about it. And this is just a pen mandrel. This is the only reason I actually have a pen mandrel, is to, to do this. I want to keep the tube, you know, in line with the mandrel there. And then this is, you know, a 90-degree. It's just knocking down any excess material, CA finish, that was hanging off the end. It just, you don't want to, when you go to assemble your pen, if there is stuff hanging off the end, it's going to crack your finish. And so that happened to me once, and that was all it took for me to be done messing with that. But here it is. So the last step, I'm going to buff this out on my buffing wheels. There's not a lot going on with that, but it should look pretty darn good, I think. I'm pretty happy with it. So again, you can get these from these. I'm not sure what she's got in stock, but you can get these 3D prints from Ashley. Chipped builds. Switch to this view here. Oh, no. What's going on? I think I might need batteries in my mouse. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to get the camera view switched. There we go. Anyway, so she's got the 3D prints that you can fill with resin basically and make blanks out of, and lots of different designs over on her Etsy shop. Let me see if I can find her Etsy shop. And I'll have a link to this in the show notes later on. My mouse is messing up today. Sorry about that. It's going to take a second for me to get this to work. So there's a link to the Etsy shop where you can get those 3D prints. But overall, I would say that this was a success. It turned fine. You know, there was no problems with it. I would actually say after going with the carbide, there was no problems with it. But I would actually say if you're good with and have a set of cutting type tools, you know, like I was using I can't think of it, a spindle gouge. You know, if you have cutting tools, I would probably say they are maybe a little bit better way to go. I don't know. And it would be kind of interesting to try just a regular carbide. But either way, you should not have any problems turning these, as long as you go slow and kind of make sure that you do what you can to not have any problems. So anyway, guys, that's, like I said, sorry I'm not actually finishing the pen, but I actually am looking at the clock right now, and I need to get ready for... oh, sorry. I thought my clock said 3:25. Get ready to do an audio podcast with Casey. We're going to fire that back up. He's been pretty busy with school and haven't been able to get together to record, so we're going to be doing that this afternoon. But I will be putting pictures up. I'll get this thing buffed out and all prettied up, and then turn the other part of the blank, the dark side blank. Get everything assembled, and then I'll put pictures up on Instagram and Facebook for sure. And then you'll be able to see it on Friday for sure too. So the next live stream is our regularly scheduled live stream on Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. And we have a box of really cool stuff that Frank Fowler sent me. He's one of my patrons. So we're gonna do like a true Duncan Junk style, resin casting thing. We're gonna do some experiments and see how this material works and see what we get out of it. So I hope to see you guys on Friday, like I said, 3 p.m. Pacific time. So anyway, guys, I hope you guys are all staying safe, just hunkering down, keeping busy as best you can. Hope everybody's doing well, in this kind of crazy time right now. But let's see, let me stop real quick and make sure I'm not missing anything here. Christina, nice. Lots of people. Make sure I'm not missing any questions or anything. I don't think so. All right, cool, guys. So like I said, I'll see you guys all on Friday afternoon, and have a wonderful evening, and I will talk to you soon, guys. Oh, and thanks for joining the stream today. I appreciate it. Hopefully you guys had some fun. And a big thank you to Russell for the super chat as well. I appreciate it. All right, guys. I will see you guys Friday. Mouse is not working.